In every study, they will extinct the regular salmon within 40 generations. That's 40 years. They don't care about that. They don't care about DU. They don't care about real problems. They want you to be their slaves, period. Now, I want to get into this China situation. We've already covered some of it. We're almost out of time. Man, I may have to go back to 4 hours here. I want to get into this Bill Gates situation here in just a moment. I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow because I've seen him. His dad was the head of Planned Parenthood. He's a eugenicist. His whole program isn't about helping Africans. When you actually go research it, it's vaccines that sterilize you. It's now all out in the open. We're going to get to that in a moment. He said, yeah, these are death panels. That's what they do in England, folks. It's such a big subject because I know we have listeners who buy into all this. They're training you that, well, if an old person's going to get health care, you're not going to get yours. See, they limit the resources artificially. Instead of realizing in a free market economy it grows and grows. As there's more need, there's more business. That it's unlimited what we can do in the economy. And they say, we've got to do this or the earth is going to die. Or we've got to have a one-child policy or the earth's going to, basically implode and all these islands in the Pacific are going to go underwater. And it turns out they're actually getting bigger. In fact, guys, I actually pulled that article up earlier. I wanted to show people on prisonplanet.tv the actual headline here. Coral Islands bigger. And it says that all over the Pacific, the atolls are getting bigger, not smaller. The ocean level isn't going up, ladies and gentlemen. It's all lies. But Bill Gates uses an extreme example of some old person costing millions of dollars, and so other people don't get health care. And he admits, yes, these federal boards, they will decide if you get the health care, and they will withhold it. See, right now, you can go and get charity care by law, but they won't tell citizens that you can get free health care. They give it to the illegal aliens because they want to bring them in here. And then Bill Gates uses an extreme example of, well, there's millions for this old person, so there isn't money for all of these young people. And they sell you on the idea of taking old people or sick people and just giving them morphine till they die. And, I mean, that was in the Wall Street Journal a decade ago this has been going on. In the U.S., they kill people every day. They deny them food and water while they're chained down, begging if they're wards of the state. Do you understand this is going on now? But Obama told you there's no death panels. It's a conspiracy theory. Here's Bill Gates on national television promoting it. This is the eugenicist. This is the guy jacking your vaccines. Here he is. Oh, we had a computer crash there? All right. Tell you, I think we got computers from another planet or something. All right, well, it's up on prisonplanet.com for folks. The Bill Gates clip is up there, him saying it. We may have it by the next segment. Let me go ahead and just get into this right now. China rethinks its controversial one-child policy, London Independent. And I also have it from a bunch of other mainstream news articles. You can just search the term. China rethinks its controversial one-child policy. And it goes on from there. The country's social engineering has been too successful, reports Clifford Kunin in Beijing. So notice they don't say forced abortion's bad, sterilization's bad, people that criticize it being secretly arrested is bad. Oh, they admit all that in the article, but it's just a government policy. It's no big deal. It says the country's social engineering has been too successful. China's one-child policy, probably the most audacious exercise of social engineering the world has ever seen, could be up for review as Beijing policymakers worry about the effects of a population aging fast with insufficient numbers of youngsters to support them. Under the one-child policy imposed as a way of reining in population growth, which was running at dangerously high levels in the world's most populous nation, most families were limited to one child. The aim was to reduce fertility to 1.7 children per family. So that's less than a replacement rate. Replacement rate's about 2.2 because about 0.2% end up dying in car wrecks or disease. So you need 2.2 to just replace yourself. The aim was to reduce fertility rates to 1.7 children per family because this was seen as the only way of improving living standards. At first, couples were encouraged through education and propaganda. They don't tell you the U.S. funded them to do this, to have a one child. But this soon gave way to tougher measures. In the early 1980s, saw widespread sterilization, especially among women in rural areas. So remember, they're now wanting to have taxes on more than one child in the U.S. That's how it began in 75 in China. 5 years later, it was forced sterilization. This still goes on today, and the issue is as contentious as ever. Xin Guang Qing, a blind activist who was released from jail this week, was imprisoned in 2006 after he wrote a report about the status of women in his local area of Linyai. This is the tyranny of China, folks. A region with some 10 million residents. In it, he revealed how tens of thousands of people who had an illegal number of children were ineligible to have any more, were compelled to undergo late-term abortions, with others forcibly sterilized. This is your liberalism, folks. The report included accounts of men arrested and their wives forced to abort 8 months into their pregnancies. Isn't that liberal and loving? And they're proposing that here. The report included accounts of men arrested and their wives forced to abort 8 months in their pregnancies. The policy has also led to serious gender imbalance, with 120 boys every 100 girls. What is that? You know, there's 10% more boys. China's working population will fall by around 10 million people a year every year after 2025, and the number of young people between 20 and 24 will drop by a quarter over the next decade. Young people of the age group are most energetic, productive, and willing to learn. China is already experiencing a shortfall of skilled workers. And it just goes on to say that it's going to completely collapse their economy. You've got to at least replace yourself. They train all these yuppies to not want to have children, missing out on the greatest thing in life, and you won't have somebody there at Thanksgiving when you're 65. You won't have somebody there to keep you out of a government dormitory where they're going to euthanize you. The globalists want to destroy the family, re-engineer society. They don't want you to have kids to stand up for you when you're old. Don't you understand this? We'll see if we can get the Bill Gates clip working when we come back after this quick break. Infowars.com. Stay with us.
Afraid to answer it? Afraid to answer your door? Did you know that debt settlement, bankruptcy, and attorneys will cost you about 10 times more than you would legally be required to pay creditors? These are not ways to help you get out of debt. They are expensive payment plans. And if you're in debt already, does it make sense to load yourself up with another payment plan? Zero debt in 90 days gets you out of debt in 90 days, guaranteed. And that's the website you need to visit right now, ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. Zero debt in 90 days gets you out of debt without a payment plan and without attorneys or going to court. ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com is the quickest solution to debt relief on the planet. If you have more than $25,000 in credit card debt, student loans, or difficult mortgage situation, we can help, and we are the only organization to provide written guarantees on the results. Go to ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. That's ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
The question is, where should the American people draw their line in the sand?
What have we got? A republic or a monarchy?
A republic is based on a constitution which protects minority rights.
Not democracy, not mob rule, two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
So they think they own our land, they think they own our water, children, our education, our money.
We have to define who we are and what we will tolerate.
Somebody's going to ask you what you did during the Patriot Uprising.
You have been warned.
We have the facts. We have the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights. We have common law. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so excited to be able to offer you Don't Tread on Me, Rise of the Republic. Tyranny is upon us, but liberty and the sleeping giant that is the American people is rising. A new tool in the info war. Don't Tread on Me. Order it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139 and support independent, patriotic Liberty Films.
Attention gun owners. You're into guns and many people you know are into guns. Well, someone needs to maintain, clean, and repair those guns, and it could be you. Now get a free How-To Gunsmith DVD sampler from AGI, the American Gunsmithing Institute. Learn the art of professional gunsmithing as a part or full-time career. Develop a lucrative business by learning the art of gunsmithing through over 71 exclusive DVD training courses. Get started today by ordering our free DVD sampler video and catalog at AmericanGunsmithDVD.com. See how to quickly learn firearm disassembly, reassembly, accurizing, customizing, super tuning, refinishing, trigger repair, and much more for rifles, pistols, and shotguns. To order your free DVD sampler and catalog, call 800-367-9792 or go to AmericanGunsmithDVD.com. Ask about a bonus $10 savings coupon when you call 800-367-9792 or go to AmericanGunsmithDVD.com. Learn how. Learn now with AmericanGunsmithDVD.com.
All right, final segment. So, Bill Gates heading up this NSA takeover grid, the retina scanners, the control, the surveillance, the predictive systems, the big banks imploding the economy, funding all the environmental carbon taxes. All of this is going on. And they know that you have an artificial hallucination. We all do. Because 90% in every industrialized country, some cases even more, some countries are 93% in urban, that you live in megacities. And so all you see is people in lines. And my analogy is, if you're scuba diving off the coast of Cancun, you may go 10 miles in a boat before you see any coral. And you wouldn't hardly see any fish out there. But as soon as you hit a coral reef, you'll see tens of thousands of fish. Animals tend to congregate together in ecosystems. So we congregate together. And so it creates this perception that we're overpopulated. But even if we were overpopulated, if you believe 8 billion is, it's going to plane out at around 8.5 billion in the next 10 years. And then it's going to start going down. All of the actuaries show. China's going down too fast. It's screwing up their society. But here's Bill Gates. For you to get health care, we got to kill an old lady. And yeah, it is a death panel. Federal boards changing medicine and making sure you can't get charity care. Lying to you and saying you don't get coverage. Keeping people ignorant to where they don't get coverage or don't get care. And then their answer is, let the government take over and start killing people. Here it is.
That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So of course,
that's an interesting thing you just said, which is just the last 3 months in life for one person or something, because we haven't had a discussion of how to allocate that money. It means we lay off 3 teachers to do so. I mean, in other words, we haven't had this type of allocation.
We're making that trade-off because of huge medical costs that are not examined to see which ones
that's enough.
Actually have no benefit.
It goes on and on. If you want to see the whole thing, it's up at prisonplanet.com. But Bill Gates admits death panels. Now, notice the message he sends to these teachers. You got some $30,000, $40,000 a year teacher, and he tells him or her, you're going to get laid off if we don't kill Grandma. Remember the case for killing Granny, the cover of Newsweek? How great it is. Other articles in Newsweek, how great it is. People are committing suicide for the earth. Families killing themselves, shooting their children. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Bill Gates has some 40,000 square foot house I saw reported. This is a total Dr. Evil you're dealing with here. And they're sending the message that they communalize, they collectivize the wealth, and then they limit the resources. That's what carbon taxes are all about. And then they say you're not allowed to have health care even if you can pay for it. And then I was talking to Rob Jacobson just the other day. He wants to come on the show and talk about it, but I explained to him 5 years ago when he didn't even work for me and he was literally losing weight every day, Crohn's disease, probably going to die. And that's what the doctors were telling him, that he could die in a few years if this continued. They wouldn't give him any care. They said, you're uninsurable. And I said, Rob, it's charity care. And he got his full surgery, everything paid for. And he just told one of his friends, a young lady who had to have surgeries, thought she owed $80,000, and the charity care paid for $85,000 because you have to pay more when you have good insurance, and that's put in a fund, and all these good people donate to charity hospitals. Just like Ron Paul has said, that nobody goes without health care unless they're not told about this. He worked for years in a charity hospital making $5 an hour. $5 an hour. Doctors are supposed to donate their time to do this. All right, we're out of time. God bless you all. Retransmission comes up, Infowars.com. Great job, crew.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Listen up, friends. This is Alex Jones with key information. The mainstream media is now admitting that we're going into a depression. Don't be dependent on the government for you and your family. You need to get your own supply of